So I enjoy making digital contacts with my computer, working stations in different countries as well as different states. Sometimes when I'm working digital, I need to QSY over to make a single sideband connection. Maybe that's a contact with someone in a park, or maybe I'm chasing a station on a Lewis and Clark Trail special event. And this presents a problem because once I have the digital app locked up to the radio via cat control, my logging program, N3FJP, doesn't have the connection to get the frequency information. So what would be nice to have is while I'm working digital, I can switch over to work single sideband, and my logger would automatically read the frequency information from radio. So if you've ever wanted that capability, go ahead and continue watching, and we'll talk about a program that I wrote, the N3FJP Proxy, which solves this issue. So let's go ahead and check out the presentation. So this presentation is part one of a two-part series where I'm going to demonstrate how to integrate digital and voice operations, and specifically how you can add FLRIG CAT control to N3FJP, which is currently not supported. So in this presentation, we break it down into three sections. The first is integrating digital and voice ops, and I'll demonstrate what I mean by that. Next, I'll move on to explaining FLRIG, what that program does, as well as talking about some of the limitations that N3FJP logger has. It's a great logger. I really enjoy using it, but it currently cannot talk to FLRIG. And finally, I'll introduce the program that I wrote, the N3FJP Proxy, which solves that issue and provides integrated capability from N3FJP to FLRIG. So what do I mean by integrating digital and voice operations? So say, for example, I'm at home at night and I'm working VAR-AC stations. So I have my VAR-AC application up and running, and I'm going to log my contacts to N3FJP. And there's a way that you can automatically do that through a local connection on my computer. To use VAR-AC, I have it connected to my radio via CAT control, which is computer-aided transceiver control. And this connection is what's used to push-to-talk my radio, as well as read the frequency information of what channel I'm on. And importantly, when I need to change the channel during the contact, it's used to switch my transceiver to the correct frequency to follow my station and complete the QSO. So let's say, for example, I'm at home making my contact with VAR-AC, and I log that contact in N3FJP. And I'm sitting there looking for the next station that I'm going to work, and my phone sends me a notification that there's a new station that I need. It's incoming. And this year is the the ARRL Celebration of America. There's W1AW stations coming online. And I get an alert on my phone that says W1AW/3, maybe Maryland, for example, is currently active on FT8 on the 40 meter band. Now the challenge is I currently have the VAR-AC program up and running, and I could go ahead and close that program down and then launch N3F WSJTX. But what I want to be able to do is switch over seamlessly to WSJTX. So for now, I'm just going to go ahead and shut that program down, and I'm going to load WSJTX to work that needed station. So it's going to connect to the radio via the CAT control, and it's going to switch the frequency to 7.1074 megahertz, which is the frequency of 40 meters FT8. And I'm going to work that contact, and I'm going to go ahead and take a look at the band, and maybe there's some other stations that I'm interested in working, so I'm working a little bit of FT8 on the band. And then I get a notification on my park from Kilo Charlie 3 SEG, Greg, which is an operator that used to live here in Maryland, and he's now moved out of the area, but he frequently works parks on the air. So I see he's on single sideband 40 meters. So I want to go ahead and stop doing my WSJTX apps and go ahead and work that contact. So what do? I just go ahead and stop transmitting on WSJTX. I QSY my radio by turning the dial to go up to that frequency. But the problem is when I go to log it, there is no CAT control connection from N3FJP to my radio. And that's because the WSJTX has that occupied. And since there's no CAT control, no CAT, no frequency. So I'm not going to get the frequency information into my log record. Now, I could type that manually, which I can do, and I've done it times. But the challenge is I've made mistakes and I put the wrong frequency or the wrong band, and then I got to expend my time to go fix that. So there needs to be a better way. So I'm envisioning a world where I have multiple applications operating simultaneously. Maybe I'm running N3FJP, my logger. I'm running FLRIG, and I'm also running WSJTX, all these things simultaneously. And we used a CAT, the computer-aided transceiver, but imagine there's another CAT, right, that can span these multiple dimensions and let me use my radio and share the frequency information simultaneously. So I'm glad to tell you that this does not involve quantum mechanics or some special physics. It's a simple program that I wrote called the N3FJP Proxy. So let's go ahead and go into details about how FLRIG works and then how the proxy can help solve this problem to let all three of these programs exist in a perfect superposition at the same time. So CAT control, computer-aided transceiver, what this involves is doing frequency control of your rig and also setting the mode and the transmit power, as well as telling it when to transmit and receive. There's a couple different ways of doing this. You can do direct control via a COM port. You would configure your program to directly control that. Now the strength of that is it's pretty simple, but the problem is when that program's loaded, no one else can use the transceiver to get the frequency information or cause it to push to talk. The other option is something called hamlib and RIG-CTLD. So these are options on a number of digital apps, but they're not universal on all the programs, which presents a challenge. And then finally, there's a program called FLRIG, which is part of the FL suite, and it offers rig control. And this is used by a number of applications, including FLDigi, FLAMP, FLMessage, FLNet, so the whole suite of those. JS8 call supports it, WSJTX, FLRIG, FreeDV, which is a mode that supports digital audio over your HF band, and then POTACAT. But in my case, one of the downfalls here is N3FJP, which is a great logging program. It currently does not support FLDigi. So what if we could add FLDigi support to N3FJP? Wouldn't that be great? So how do we do this? Well, FLRIG can be used to support multiple digital apps at the same time. So you have one instance of FLRIG running, and it has a server called an XML RPC server. I won't go into details of what that does, but essentially it's like a traffic cop. You can connect in with multiple applications, and it funnels it down, and you have one person talking to the radio. So whenever the radio changes frequencies, whether that's through another digital app or through me turning the knob, all the programs simultaneously will get the most recent frequency information in. And then the clients, each of the clients will connect to that XML RPC server, and that's how they can either control the radio or get the up-to-date frequency information. All right, so now let's talk about the program that I wrote called N3FJP Proxy. So essentially what this does is you have a N3FJP client, which is going to connect to my program, the N3FJP Proxy, and then FLRIG was going to do the rig control to my radio. So if you want to learn more about this, to how to use it, check out my part 2 of the video. And you can get the software off my website, k3jsj.net, under the software section, N3FJP Proxy. So I have a version 1 out at this moment. It's still considered beta software, but it does work. Download the software and verify the digital signature either through my PGP key that you can see that I signed the application, the zip file, or you can check the MD5 sum, the checksum that I have posted on the website. It's a single executable, so go ahead and just run that executable and accept the terms of use. Now, once you run the program, what you're going to be presented with is a simple screen, and you can go under the View menu, and there's a Help section, which goes through how to configure your station. So I walked through with details of not only words, but also pictures, screenshots, that I give you the diagrams of how you configure the FLRIG software, the N3FJP logger software, I also go through what port information that you would put into the proxy itself. And then I have directions when you start to proxy up. So you can go through this at your leisure. In the program, it tells you how to set everything up. And also in part 2 of the video, I'm going to go through this in detail and show you a demonstration. All right, well, thanks for checking out this video. I've set the stage to share information about the problem that I'm trying to solve. And that is, I want my N3FJP logger to be able to get information about the current state of the radio while I have digital applications running and I don't have to shut those applications down. So check out part 2 of the series, and I'll give a detailed walkthrough of how you set up the program, as well as I'll give a demonstration of it in action by making some QSOs. So thanks for tuning in. Again, my name is Jason Johnson, Kilo 3 Juliet, Sierra Juliet. And if you like videos about ham radio or digital apps, I would encourage you to subscribe to my YouTube channel and like this video. Doing so helps other ham radio operators find material such as this. And also by subscribing to the channel, you get a notification when I drop new videos. So with that, I trust that you all are doing well, and check out part 2. And until I see you next time, 73.